Hi, I'm Gary, welcome to the channel. Today I'm looking at the brand new 2025 kit of the HENSCHEL Hs123A light attack aircraft in 1/32nd scale from ICM. Now if you enjoy the show, please remember to let YouTube know by giving it the imperial thumbs up, by hitting the notification bell and by subscribing to the channel. It's free and a great way to show your support. So let's make a start with a look at the box the kit comes in. Here it is. I would say here it is at last because I've been waiting for this for quite some time. This is a kit I really have wanted to make a lot. HENSCHEL Hs123A from the Condor Legion, the Spanish Civil War, from ICM. It's in 1/32nd scale and the product code is 32016. Beautiful piece of box art here. There's just something about the schemes from the Spanish Civil War that I just adore. I just really like them, so I'm looking forward to doing this one. On this long side, there's some basic information here, a link to the ICM website, of course, and then an information panel says it's Hs123A attack aircraft during the Spanish Civil War. Original placement of the Venturi tube on the fuselage and absence of the mast on the upper wing. You know, that's the sort of level of detail they're going to with this kit, which is brilliant. 3 different aircraft decal sets. The kit, when it's complete, will be 272 millimeters long. It will be 330 millimeters in span. And there are 193 parts, not all of which you'll necessarily need for the build of your kit. Now, on this long side, there are the schemes for 3 squadrons, 3 aircraft used during the Spanish Civil War. You can see the splinter schemes are a bit different from one to the other. I'm still trying to decide which of these I'm going to make. It's going to be a tricky decision because I like all of them. Maybe this middle one with this, just because it's got a skull and crossbones on it, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. So that's the sort of decision I can make as I go along to some extent. Anyway, that's the kit. Let's have a look and see what we get inside the box for our money. ICM, as always with these kits, and I think, do you know what, this is some of the best packaging on the market right now. Glossy sleeve outer comes off, and then you have this very solid, protective, double thickness, or double walled at least, corrugated box for the parts to actually sit in. I think this is brilliant. A lot of companies could learn from this. Inside the box we have just the one cellophane bag with plastic parts in. There's a tiny cellophane bag in there for the very few transparent parts there are in this kit. There's the instruction sheet. There's the decal sheet, of course, for this particular boxing of the aircraft. And there's an advert for ICM's range of acrylic paints, which are actually very, very good. Okay, let's have a look at all these bits and pieces in a bit more detail. Okay, so frame A, as you can very obviously see, are the fuselage parts of 2 halves. The upper part here for the gun shroud, an engine shroud, and I'm guessing a fuel tank, auxiliary fuel tank for underneath the aircraft, should you want it. Frame B are the upper and lower wing halves. You can see on the wings they've got these pre-set positions for the interplane struts, which are quite chunky on this plane. So yeah, essentially just the upper and lower parts of the wing. And you can get a feel for how big this thing's going to be when it's complete as well. Frame C are the lower wings. Remember, this is a biplane, so the bottom part of the wing actually sits flush with the bottom of the fuselage. There's mounting points of various bits of ordnance. And again, there's some pre-marked positions for the interplane struts. Frame D, and we have all the major flying surfaces. So the rudder, the elevators and ailerons are all on here. Frame E, and here we have mainly the engine parts, engines and the feed pipes and exhaust and the con rods and stuff like that. Propeller, instrument panel, some of the interplane strut assemblies here, bit of the tail. This is part of the these go together to form the shroud over the engine, and some fuselage bits here as well. We have two frames F, that's because they repeat a lot of the parts. So these are wheels and spats for the wheels, another part of the engine cover, weapons, bits and pieces around here. Oh, undercarriage legs, of course. Then there's frame G with what you would normally say is everything else. So exhaust parts, I like the fact that exhaust is modelled nicely. The caban, struts, control column, a little sort of step for getting in and out, bits and pieces for the interior of the cockpit. Venturi tube is on there somewhere as well. Oh, and there's a service pistol for the pilot. So yeah, bits and pieces for the interior of the cockpit mainly. And finally there's the frame H, which is the windscreen. It's just like a screen, literally a wind screen, and a couple of tiny little, I guess, light covers. Looking at the moulding here, this is the bottom of the lower wing. The moulding's absolutely lovely. 1/32 now, you see these sort of panel lines are beginning to look much more in scale. So very happy with those. There's a little bit of flow coloration here coming from the injection points off this runner, but nothing major, nothing that looks like the plastic's in any way compromised. The cutouts and holes all look absolutely crystal sharp, sharp as anything. I just love mouldings like this that ICM are doing, and a few other companies are doing that are so sharp. Look at that. These are people who are completely in control of the process and the plastic. They mould everything themselves, so they are completely in control. On the other side, we're looking for ejector pins, ejector pin marks, and there's one there. It's flat as anything. Yeah, very nice, very, very nicely done. When we look at some of the smaller parts. For detail, this is the engine cylinders that look very nice indeed. Yeah, just go back to front like that to fit together. Lovely. The exhaust collectors here, very nice. The shroud mountings here, very good. Now the only thing that annoys me slightly is the amount of relief. It doesn't annoy me that the relief is there. It annoys me that you're supposed to fit one decal across all of that. So when I come around to do it, I will probably split off those two decals there. I think it's Artificial Horizon. I can't remember what's going to go there. The instruments on either side can be one piece because it's all flat. Then that one and that one will be separate, and probably there's something this for here as well. That will be cut separately so that they all sit flat properly. And again, these switches and stuff like that, those will be put on. Some of them will be put on. I'm not sure all of them will be put on even. I might do a few in brush painting rather than putting decals on. Like the switches, for example, I might just brush paint those or highlight those separately from the rest. But generally speaking, I mean, the quality of the moulding is spot on. It's even the smaller parts like here, very, very crisp. It is, of course, it's a brand new mould. It should be absolutely sharp. But do you know what? We've seen a few things recently from some companies where they've not been very sharp. And they've had sink marks and short shots and all sorts of other issues. That's part of the side control panel looking very lovely. Yeah, as usual, I mean, ICM these days, what a great company for producing plastic. This is the decal sheet for the Condor Legion HENSCHEL Hs123A. Spanish Civil War markings, so black circles or black circles with white crosses in them. Black crosses, those go over the rudder, which is painted white, so it's white with a black cross. They also sometimes had white crosses on the aircraft. Aircraft markings here, the instrument panels, the usual sort of filler things like 87 octane or whatever. Markings for various aircraft. As I say, I'm probably going to go with the skull and crossbones ones, but we'll have a closer look at the quality of the decals in a moment. Looking closely at the decal sheets, things we notice are that the instruments are pretty good. Now, their black on white is actually quite good. Don't have too many problems with registration and things like that. The other colours, they're a little faded. The yellow on this fuel filler here, and the reds on these sort of devil type things, they look a little thin to me, but then that's because they're 4-colour printed. That's a cheaper way of doing things, and also they do them themselves, so they're not sending out to Cartograph and ending up being charged an absolute fortune for these. So the decals are okay. Maybe for the larger size, these could have been done by someone else. I don't know. I'll have to see what these look like. I'm sure they'll be fine. And the only concern I have actually is that you can see there's some surface damage to this decal here. I'm sure if I ask them, they'd send me a new sheet to cover that. But I might actually just do that and cut the circles myself out of masking tape and spray them on. I don't think there's much of a need to necessarily use black circles on a kit like this. I'll probably be just spraying them on anyway, so I'm not too bothered. But I know they've got a very, very good reputation for aftercare service. So if you find anything like that on your kit, drop them an email and they'll get one of these out to you in a post in a few days, I'm sure. So yeah, basic set, but then before the Second World War, a lot of stenciling was very, very basic. They didn't need to do too much. There's a little bit here saying no, don't step or don't walk further than this, and then a few bits of artwork, but there's not really much in the way of stenciling that came in much, much later. Here's the instruction leaflet. As you can see, it's pretty much the same as most ICM layouts are now. So we have a reprise of the box art up here with the title, scale and product code 32016. There's a sort of brief summary of the 123A in the Condor Legion here in English and in Ukrainian, and some specifications of the aircraft again in English and in Ukrainian. Over here we have the colour callouts, and the numbers here are the ICM range of colours. Only one of them they would say you'd mix. I don't actually know what that is, so I'll look into that. But the fact it's like 5% of something in 95% of something else means that its dark sea grey is really, really close. I suspect it might just be a little bit more blue or something like that. Anyway, ICM numbers here, you can easily transfer those into your regular numbers that you normally use, and you can do that on their website quite often. I think some on their website, they've got conversions into other popular brands of paint. Over here we have the translation of the icons that are used, again English and Ukrainian, and here there's a link to the YouTube channel for ICM there. Sadly they quite often do a video showing the build sequence derived from the CAD system, so using the CAD images to show you how to put bits together, but unfortunately for this one they've not done it. I think because the CAD was done quite some time ago, this was scheduled originally for about 2 years ago, so I think the CAD predates the time when they could take the videos off like they do these days, almost as a matter of course now on new things. Inside the first pages we have the frame maps as usual, with red bits to show parts that are not used in this particular version of the kit. There's a few bits and pieces over there and a couple of little bits down here. Other than that, everything's used, and then we're straight into the diagrams for assembly. I like ICM diagrams, they're pretty straightforward. Every now and again there's something that you think, oh, I'm not entirely sure what that looks like or how that looks, and that's where their CAD derived videos are so good, because they do show you straight away what you need to do. Colour callouts are here in boxes in red, so you could just go through and just mark out what these mean as you go along, just so you know what they are if you need to pre-paint anything or do some work on the interior or whatever. It's a pretty usual thing, you know, you assemble the cockpit onto one side and box it all up, put the top on, put the lower wings on. Probably by the time you're putting lower wings and tail planes on, you're probably much looking to get ready to start painting that part of the aircraft at least. Engine assembly here, relatively straightforward. Again, I'd do that after I'd done the rest of the paintwork here. You may have to figure out, you know, you could build all of that, put it on the aircraft but don't glue it in, just to work out how the splinter camouflage relates to the engine shrouds as well, so that's going to be quite important. Rudders and elevators of course need to go on. Then the interplane struts are going in, the top wing gets assembled and gets put on fairly straightforwardly. Undercarriage gets done. I mean, these are steps that make a lot of sense all the time. Last few bits and pieces. I talk here about some bits that they are suspecting you might want to use stretched sprue to make, and it is this tiny little bit here, but as it's a 1mm bit that's 9mm long, I mean, I've got some 1mm stock evergreen, you know, polystyrene that can just do that, so that's perfectly good. There's the Venturi, they said, is put on the back. On the later 123s, I believe it goes on the top of the wing, I can't remember for sure. Weapons, and then it's done. There's mask templates here should you wish to use them for masking off the exterior of the windshield. I would, you know, you probably want to do the inside as well. And then we have the schemes. Yeah, I mean, listen, this splinter camouflage from the Civil War is just lovely. It's just really, really nice. I like it so much. Still debating. Every time I look at them, I kind of, oh, should I really should I do that, or should I do something else? Or should I do? There we go. All of these are amazing colours. They're very, very similar, but they've got like little differences here and there, which is nice. Some of these have got the X's on the top of the wings, for example. So yeah, really nice, lovely piece of work. Should make a very nice little kit. There is then quite a size at 1/32 scale, but I think still very manageable. My only concern is getting the splinter camouflage looking right in this Spanish Civil War scheme. But if you enjoyed this look at the kit, then please remember, let YouTube know by giving it the Imperial thumbs up, by hitting the notification bell, and by subscribing to the channel. Thanks so much for watching today, and goodbye.